Hi, this is Charlie giving you Friday's live trading, and I hope you're very well. I'm giggling here because this is the third take. I've just been laughing with the guys in the room. Third take just to get the introduction right. Anyway, welcome to Friday's live trading. It is just after 8 o'clock actually. We've been sat here for a while, but there wasn't any need to start the recording. So we are looking at probably the pound dollar here this morning. We've had a good run up so far today. Looking for a little bit of a pullback. Then I'll be looking to get long. So that's the plan here. So just playing a waiting game at the moment. We'll come back to this as and when it sets up. Okay, so I'm just sat here with the guys in the trading room, still waiting here. We've got this is the pound still, so it's getting the pullback. It's got about 2 pips to go to get to the entry. We've got a little 8 a.m. pivot coming in down here at 129.30, but my lower bands on the 15-minute chart are just a smidgen below that. We're looking for the lower bands on the 15-minute chart. Going to be splitting the entries this morning because the potential is to come down to a few levels actually, down into the low 20s as well, based on the slightly higher time frame. So rather than going in with 4 units here, I'll go in with a single unit here and then add another unit would be about mid 20s, around about 25. That's where the 30-minute bands are coming in, and then again off the off the hourly. Sorry. So so going to be looking to split the entries and stagger the entries over a range of prices this morning. Because you can't always tell when you've got a market which has been going up where it's actually going to stop, and I think it'd be quite nice to stagger the entries a little bit here this morning. So now we have got non-farm payrolls today. So is there potential that the markets just slow down and then nothing really happens going into non-farm payrolls? Yes, it is. And if I get into a trade here this morning which doesn't really do much, then I will have to just come out of it ahead of non-farm payrolls being released later. So, but we'll worry about that a bit further down the road. Yes. Anyway, I'll press pause for now, and we'll see if we can this pound can come down that little bit and start getting the entries in. Okay, right. Cable's come down to this level, so let's hit buy with the first entry there. So we've just gone long with the first entry there on the pound dollar. And so I'll be looking to get the second entry coming in if it comes down that little bit lower. So I'll press pause for now. Okay, just back here. So we can see I've just got a different chart perspective up now. So here's the lower bands where I bought just a while ago now, where I bought. So I bought at 28. And it came down to the lower bands on the 15-minute chart here. So we can see it's already bounced up to the upper band. So at the moment, what I was looking for was to see if it was going to come down to the lower bands on the 30-minute chart as well, and that's where I've got those second and third entries in, actually, down there. But unfortunately, well, anyway, for now, it's bounced. And so I have to play a waiting game. Could it just, now it's hit the upper band on the 15-minute chart, come all the way back down and come down to the 30-minute bands? Yes, it could. Could still do that. And would I still get the other units in? Yes, I would. So the potential is still for that to happen. But if it doesn't happen and price just comes up here to 129.40 area, these highs up here, I will then go into trade management mode, and then we'll start managing the stops up, and I'll move the stop up to here. What I'm looking for, I haven't covered off earlier on, is the overall move. I'll be looking for around about 129.60, not the absolute high, but close to 129.60, maybe not quite even that, but in the upper 129.50s. So is what I'd be looking for. So you can see it's coming up here. So it's looking like it's going to go in. We're going to go into trade management mode, which is just going to be to trail the stop. So unfortunately, only with one unit. Ugh, rubbish, isn't it? But so let's bring this up. Here's the trade from earlier on. Forget the euro long. That's a position I've already been in. It's running well. But we're in at 28, and the stop's down at 10 because I was still in that process of looking to add more positions. But I will start to trail that stop if we do get up to that 40 area on the charts. Then we're just going to in trade management mode. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. I'll press pause. Update. Okay, so at the moment the pound has come up to this 129.40 area, so I have moved the stop up to 129.20. I'll still be looking for more entries if we do come down to the lower bands on the 30-minute chart, which are down around about here. So What can happen on a day like today is that, or it's not a day like today, with this price action, is that you get this, you've had a nice move up, oops, then you've had a retracement, then you have another move to the upside, which doesn't break to new highs. Then price comes down, it takes out this low, which is enough to take out stops or whatever, takes out that low, and then turns, and then turns back up again, and that's when we get the move from there. So that could well tie in with those lower bands on the 30-minute charts. So I've moved my stop to 129.20. If I do get the next entry in, if it does come back down to those lower bands on the 30-minute charts and such likes, I'll have a staggered stop losses. So I'll actually have different stop losses on those, but we're only talking about 10 pips or so it's all small stuff on stops. So that's what the plan will be. I'll press pause for now for this. Okay, so just back on the video here, you can see the cable's come up. It's got up to what, 42. It's coming back off again now. We're into the mid-morning. It's 10 o'clock or so, and so looks like cable's just going to meander along here. Now, the problem that we now have is because it's non-farm payrolls, I could see the potential for this to just meander along, and then all of a sudden we're 125, and it's still not broken out, and it's still in this range. So do I adapt what I'm doing? I might adapt slightly, but I'd still like to get another unit in, just in case it breaks before non-farm payrolls. So I would get another unit in, so we'll still be watching for that anyway. But it still hasn't got there. It's still just sat around here, and so it may just be that just got to play a waiting game. The big problem is non-farm payrolls. I will have to exit my positions ahead of non-farm payrolls because it's the right thing to do with all that volatility, and it could mean that I have to exit my positions only to see cable then shoot up after non-farm payrolls potentially, but that's just the way it has to be. You have to trade responsibly as well. So anyway, we'll press pause for now. Okay, just back. It's now 11:45. We've been chatting away all morning, and let's just bring up the charts here so we can see the various time frames. We've got the hourly chart here, 30-minute chart, and then the 15 and then the 5. And we can see that the pound's just held up, been chopping around up at the highs and then comes back off. And so I don't think it's worth, I'll bring this to the hourly chart. I don't think it's worthwhile, even if it comes down to my lower band on the hourly charts now, it's not worthwhile putting that second entry in when we've got non-farm payrolls at 130. This is looking more and more likely that I'm going to end up having to close this trade down before non-farm payrolls, just in case. So it's looking more and more likely. I'm up, we're still up marginally. We got in at 28. We're sitting at 33 at the moment. But I'll happily hold it until 5 minutes before non-farm payrolls or whatever, if it hasn't come down and stopped me out. The stop is at 20, so it's only an 8-pip stop. We'll see what happens, but it's looking more likely that it's just going to drift. So there's no point me putting a second entry in now with time. It's more likely it's just going to drift a bit, and then we'll see. So maybe the problem I've got actually is I don't have that much. I need to go out. I need to go to the gym. Basically, I need to have my gym session, and I don't like going to the gym late on a Friday afternoon because otherwise I just won't go. I'm usually a morning gym bunny. So at 1 o'clock, I'm going to want to go to the gym. So I'll probably have to make this decision in about an hour's time about this, which is unfortunate. I'll go to the gym, I'll get back and see what the markets have done, and we'll see about whether I've finished the video then or whatever. But at the moment, it's going to be a nothing Friday again. It's been a few nothing Fridays of late. But bear in mind, the swings do compensate, don't they? So here's the position again on the pound at the moment. And then I've got some position there on the euro dollar. Who knows what's going to happen with that euro dollar? But it's good to diversify anyway and be in different things. So I'm not too fussed if that's the way it's been, if that's the way it's going to be, and I have to come out of cable ahead of the news. So I'll press pause. Right, just back, and we can see that cable's just in this range. But I've got a dilemma here. We're at 1:20 UK time. This is US. And we can see that pound's coming off. I'm going to head off to the gym at 1. I'm not going to stay around for non-farm payrolls, otherwise I'll never go to the gym, and I won't get a chance to go at the weekend, so I have to go. So I'll come back and see what happens after I get back from the gym mid-afternoon. So what I'm going to do is, I was just thinking, I've only got until 1 o'clock to get to close out this pound position. I might as well just close out of it now. Come to think of it, whilst it's still sat here, because even if it comes up a little bit ahead in between now and 1 o'clock, it's not going to really make much difference to the whole thing. So I might as well close out of it now. So I'm actually going to take that decision and close out. So I have just closed out of cable. Let's have a look. It just didn't seem worthwhile staying in it when I know I've got to come out by 1, and it's not going to turn around and break out between now and 1 o'clock. It's not going to happen. Not with non-farm payrolls coming. So I'm flat on the pound for now. So £7. I can get myself a coffee at the gym after training. But yeah, there's no point in me doing anything more with it. Actually, come to think of it, I probably should have taken that decision earlier. But you think, well, earlier on, it might have still had that opportunity to break out, even what's that, 40 minutes or so ago. You never know. So it would be very funny if it did all of a sudden just shoot up now between now and 1 o'clock in the next 40 minutes, but I don't think so. So I've just closed out. So what I'll do is I'll keep the recording going for today, because there's not really been a lot here. It was the right trade. It was a nice entry down here earlier on this morning. Had a nice little run up for 14 pips or whatever to the high there, and then it's just chopped around, which we would expect. So we manage our expectations with that. So it didn't manage to break out. So that's that. So the trade was good. Just the entry was good and all that. But it's just run out of gas because of the big news coming out today. So I'll press pause and I'll have a look at this afternoon and see if there's anything I want to do this afternoon. There's still the possibility of a trade, but I won't be trading the actual non-farm payrolls itself. Okay, just back. So I went to the gym and non-farm payrolls came out. There wasn't too much volatility. You can see there was obviously a bit of volatility there. As it turns out, my little old trade from this morning would have been fine, but if I do the wrong, let's see if I can get this to move across. Wrong way. So where I got in over here this morning, I elected to come out around about here, and it was not far from there. Anyway, yeah, about there. Went a little bit lower and then came up. But the thing is, I'd have been sat through it through non-farm payrolls, which I didn't want to do. Yes, I was only in a very small position, so in theory, yeah, I could still obviously be in it and still take slippage and stuff like that. But I don't think that's the right way to be necessarily to be projecting. There's always a responsibility that we have when we put these videos out, a responsibility to show people, the right way to trade, so to speak, and not to necessarily be in positions ahead of what are potentially highly volatile events. So I still think it was the right thing to do to come out before I went off to the gym. And so, but anyway, it did. The analysis overall was correct, and it's gone higher anyway. So, and then it's pulled back, I see, subsequently. So the account, nothing much to report on there. Just the one trade there on the pound for a flat trade basically. So obviously I'm in open positions in the euros, so we'll see what happens with that. Now that's interesting because that is a market moving event, and but I've categorically said that I've been in for a while on that trade from quite low down in the 106s. And so I'm up 300 pips. Now I could give up all those 300 pips if something happens at the weekend which causes the euro dollar to come all the way back down, but I'm only in with one lot, so that is much more important to me, sticking with my swing trades than a small intraday trade, which is not so important when you're looking at those. So yeah, I'll stick with that one, and it's still only a one lot trade on that one. So we go into the weekend. We've got the French elections. The interesting thing is with the euro dollar and the euro pairs and the pounds as well. Yes, we've had these gaps up, and lots of people have been talking about the gaps on the euro dollar for since it gapped up. Well, it's not showing it here on telecharts, but this day here, a couple of weeks ago, was a gap, and it's failed to close the gap so far. And so I'm sure that would have stopped a lot of people out over this past couple of weeks trying to trade for the gap fill. Um, but it's not to say that the euro dollar couldn't still come back down and fill that gap. But that's not my overall. I mean, it can do it, but my overall analysis, I stick with my overall analysis on the euro dollar anyway, which has been kind to me this year. So I've had a nice run through this early part in January, and then managed to get another bit. I mean, I was a bit short through here, and then got long through here when I was away in March. That's right. And then the only shame is I didn't get to load up again properly back in this zone. But again, ahead of the French elections, I wanted to be responsible and not load up too much. But I think I could have had a couple of more lots in than I've got. But we can't catch them all, so to speak. So we shall see what happens with this euro dollar as we go into Monday. Is it already priced in? Is a Macron win already priced in which case we sell off anyway. So that's obviously a potential. The euro dollar has hit an upper trend channel line. If I was to draw a channel on here, let's see if I can do it. If I go to my tools, that would be useful. Oops, right, drawing tools. Okay, so there is a channel here on the euro. Whether it's going to show well enough, whether it's going to be, let's see if this will work. There we go. So you can see there's a channel here anyway, just doing it on here in play, and the euro's at the upper end of that channel. And it was funny, when we were down at the lower end of the channel, I was talking about the euro coming up to at least maybe midway, but it's already got to the upper end of the channel before the French elections are all finished anyway. So it is against some resistance up here. Could sell off as part of some profit taking, even if Macron gets in, but we shall see. So I'm sitting here waiting on how that's all going to play out, and I'll be looking to obviously trade depending on what does happen. So we'll see on that. Outside of that, I shall leave you to it. Have a great weekend. Be back in touch next week. It's been a bit flat the last couple of weeks or so. Not too much to do here from an intraday perspective, but that's just the way it is. You trade tight when you feel it warrants it, and then you loosen up when you feel that it warrants that. So for now, it's nice and relatively tight, and at some point I'll start to loosen up on these Friday videos again. I shall see you next